Hi, Tony back with you. We're doing an EV charger here at a property in Dublin, and I just wanted to run through a few little safety features that we throw in on a job typically to make your EV installation much safer. Okay, so here we have a brand new Anderson charger, and you can see there that the tethered lead hides away in the top of the box, and it's all in keeping with the fascia of the house, as you can see there, which has been refurbished recently. Now there's also a brand new EV here, which is a Lexus, and we need to commission this here today to get it up and running safely for the client. So the first place we start with safety is at the fuse board. So typically we'll have an RCBO at the fuse board. The fuse board now is beyond that door there, somewhere in the back of that room, and we've run a cable out underneath the paving because it was all dug out. It's a 6mm SWA cable that's still wire armored, and it's glanded into the back of this isolator, and out of the isolator it glanded with a 6mm HORC cable into the back of the EV charger for seamless wire-free look. We've also got our data cables into the back of the Anderson as well, which monitor the current in the fuse board, and Ethernet for hassle-free internet connection to the unit. The most important thing here is, starting at the beginning, you'd have a this isn't one, but you'd have a B40 RCBO, because these are 7kW devices. So you could just get away with 32, but it might trip after a few hours. So back at the fuse board, we'd have that RCBO, and we'd also use something like this, which is kind of a dual bus bar, which will connect into the RCBO at the top there and over to the main switch, giving us a real low temperature current wise bus going over to the 7kW out from the main switch of the consumer unit. So following this job along here, we'll have a quick look at the front of the house here, and it's all nice and tidy because it's fairly newly done. And we'll go over to the meter position, not the fuse board position, the meter position. Open up the meter here, and some very important things to note before you put an EV charger in. Your tails, which are these meter tails here, must be at least 16mm. These might even be 25mm, but they must be at least 16mm. Because this meter, smart meter, is more than three or 4 meters away from the fuse board, we've got a main fuse in there as well, and it's basically just a switch fuse. It's not a fuse board, it's a switch fuse. You can see the earthing arrangements here, and if you follow down to the ground, you'll see there earth box. Now inside that earth box is an electrode, a rod that's 1 or 2 meters down into the ground, and it does not go back to this box here, it goes all the way back to the fuse board. That's where it should go, probably back to the main fuse board. But now that you have your meter done and your fuse board done, we talk about the importance of having an isolator. Now lots of people try to get away without having one. They say it's not necessary, it's not in the rules, but it is in the rules where we are in this region. And not only that, it's common sense, because if you had your EV hooked up to your car, anybody that's got one knows that these lock in with those holes there into the car. So when you're charging, it's quite simple. If there was a fault with the car and you had smoke coming out, or if this was arcing over here with the charger, you would simply go to the isolator, flick the thing off, as the fire brigade, first thing they would do would be to flick that off, because you are talking about 7,200 watts of power. Now looking more closely at another safety feature, we have this plug here, and of course if I just rest it there, you have your main poles, like for instance phase, earth and neutral, and you have two more phases if you have a 3-phase system. This one isn't, it's a single phase. So these 3 poles here, you never switch the earth, but the 2 phase and neutral ones are switched by this smart switch. That's all an EV charger is a smart switch. But you may notice 2 other terminals here, and we have 2 tiny little terminals that are pushed back a bit, and they are your CAN high, CAN low communication bus that talks to the car. So the car will basically quite intelligently talk, do a handshake and talk to the charger, and the charger will ask, do you need any power? The car might say, yes please, I need 7,000 watts. And because we have monitoring on the mains here with this system, the EV charger might say I can only give you 16 amps, which is half of that, and it might just settle for 16 amps, or it might give you the full 7,200 watts. We don't know, but they talk to that, they discuss it together, and they come to a mutual understanding, and then you've got charge. So your contactor inside this box will not click in until they've come to an understanding through the communication bus of the car. It's that simple. There's also another safety feature that if this was pulled out while it was still plugged in and we lost the communication between those two top pins, it would cut the contactor out here before you've got any kind of flashover arc on the terminations.